Thank you for coming out tonight. I know it's a busy start to the quarter, so I appreciate each of you taking your time to come to what should be a great night of discussion, questions, and learning. My name is Stephen Philp. I am the director of the Spiritual Life Council, which is the student advisory board for the Spiritual Life Office. We represent a multiplicity of traditions, both spiritual and philosophical, as we like to say, from atheist to Zoroastrian. So we have the whole gamut in there. Tonight we come together to have a debate about the question if there are good reasons to believe in a God. We have representatives from all over the spectrum. I'm really happy that they came out tonight to share their opinions. This is, I want to emphasize, a safe space. We're not here to convince you of any one thing per se. We're not here to tell you right or wrong. We are here to present arguments that you can decide which ones you find most compelling. The structure of the debate is there is going to be opening arguments from each of our four panelists. These are going to be about 7 minutes long each. And then there'll be time for rebuttals from each of them for 5 minutes. And then there'll be a Q&A where we'll open the floor to questions from all of you. I want to take a little bit of time to have each person here introduce themselves. So if you give a quick, stand up, give a quick introduction, tell people who you are. We'll start with Junyi.
I'm Junyi. College student here, my third and last year, unfortunately. I'm a physics major, and I will be representing the Christian side.
Brad Byer. I'm a pastor of Living Hope Church on campus, which has been here for 8 years, going on 9, and I'll be representing the Christian side as well, so thanks for coming.
Hello everyone, I'm Ben Zalisco. I'm an atheist and a chemistry graduate student, a PhD candidate in chemistry and biochemistry. I come from the student organizing side of things, working with the Secular Student Alliance, both here at U of C and at Elmhurst College.
I'm Josh Oxley. I'm a third-year MDiv student in the Divinity School here, and I also am the Humanist Advisor for the Spiritual Life Office through Rockefeller Chapel.
Thank you. So we'll start with our opening arguments, and Junyi will be the first to take the floor.
Well, we believe that there are good reasons to believe in the existence of God, and specifically in the existence of the Christian God, because the historical man, Jesus of Nazareth, uniquely claimed and proved that he is the Son of God on this very week, almost 2,000 years ago, by predicting and fulfilling his death and resurrection. Moreover, a belief in the existence of a Christian God allows us to reasonably hold that humans have inherent and inalienable dignity that cannot otherwise be logically substantiated. I'll first clarify on how only a Christian worldview can help us to hold on to inherent human dignity, and Pastor Brett will later elucidate on why the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ gives us the ultimate reason to believe in a Christian God. I imagine that most of us here in this room believe that there is a universal and inherent dignity to human life. Perhaps considering an example best illuminates this observation. Every year, society spends millions of dollars on antiretroviral drugs in order to treat individuals who have been infected by HIV. The HIV infection is incurable. In order to live, HIV-infected patients have to stay on a regimen of antiretroviral drugs throughout their entire lives. According to the UN AIDS statistics, a lower bound of $6 billion is spent annually by society on antiretroviral drugs in order to treat terminally infected HIV patients. But how effective is this approach? As David Kenning, professor of economics and international health at Harvard University notes, for every dollar that is spent on prevention, it's 28 times more effective in reducing the burden of disease as measured by illness and premature death. Nevertheless, in the 14th World AIDS Conference held in Barcelona in 2002, where tens of thousands of people attended, the economist's pragmatic call to use limited resources for prevention instead of treatment was roundly rejected. Now, I ask you, my dear friends, why should you think that the economist's call to use limited resources for prevention instead of treatment should be rejected? There are some who contend that our concepts of human dignity and morality are a result of social evolutionary process in which moral codes were socially instituted to keep human society which is essential for our individual survival and type. Yet, if our notion of human dignity is derived from a social evolutionary process that seeks as its ultimate good the goal of the good of society, why do we hesitate from leaving HIV-infected patients without treatment? After all, leaving HIV-infected patients without treatment would unquestionably lessen the burden of society. And by allowing these people to die off, you are only getting rid of people who are susceptible to the virus, and you are only improving the human gene pool. But I think there is something in all of us that finds something repulsive in that, as exemplified by the rejection of the economist's call to cut spending on the AIDS treatment. Social evolution cannot explain what that something is, but we can understand that as a textbook understanding of Genesis 1 that tells us that humans have inherent dignity. In fact, almost any worldview except that which is informed by the Bible will invariably lead one to the conclusion that there is no inherent human dignity. Regardless of whether you look to Hesiod's Theogony or to the Sumerians' Enuma Elish, or strangely enough, even to modern evolutionary biology, creation and nature have always, since time immemorial, been characterized and developed by violence. In ancient creation myths such as the Theogony and the Enuma Elish, multiple angry gods were the ones who perpetrated the violence, and men and women were created as slaves or as a form of punishment. In modern evolutionary biology, it is living organisms that do the violence, and man is a product of that violence. In the ancient creation myths, men and women had no inherent human dignity because he or she was created as a slave or as a form of punishment. In modern evolutionary biology, man has no inherent dignity because, despite of the fact that he has somewhat of a larger brain, he is fundamentally no different from the rest of the animals. It is only in the biblical worldview where we are told in Genesis 1, verse 26 and 27, that men and women have inherent human dignity because they were created in the image of the Almighty God Himself. I have thus far demonstrated that most of us, unconsciously or otherwise, believe in an inherent human dignity, and I have shown that outside of a biblical worldview, such a belief cannot really be reasonably substantiated. Finally, I wish to address those who peradventure imagine that inherent human dignity can be something which can be done away with. In a paper just published exactly a month ago, in the peer-reviewed Journal of Medical Ethics, two authors who clearly do not believe in an inherent human dignity argued for the case that the killing of newborn infants should be permissible. The reason they argue is that the infant is not a person in the morally relevant sense, since the infant is incapable of making any aims. Hence, this authors conclude that the alleged rights of infants is, I quote, overridden by the interests of actual people, including parents, family, society, to pursue their own well-being because, as we have just argued, merely potential people cannot be harmed by not being brought into existence. My friends, the last time a group of actual people actually decided that another group of potential people should have no right to live, terrible things happened. Today, that group of potential people might be aimless infants whose parents think they're too costly to raise. What, I ask, is next? College students who don't know what they want to do and who are costing their parents tens of thousands of dollars? I conclude with a quote and leave for you to judge the chilling similarities. Hitler, in a speech in 1923, said that the Jews are undoubtedly a race, but not human. My friends, even if you have not at this time the love of God in you, believe, I pray you, for the sake of the love of man, in the Bible and in the inherent dignity of human life. Thank you.